What thoughts come to your mind when you think of being alone? Do you think of peacefulness, rest, and an opportunity to recharge? Or do you think of loneliness, isolation, and lack of connection? Maybe you think of a mixture of both. For a long time, I used to associate being alone with isolation and loneliness, but that's changed a lot in the past few years. The interesting thing is, when you're alone, you're not actually alone. You have yourself, and your own company is very powerful. Think about it. The only person that you will spend 100% of your time on this earth with is yourself. You never get a break from yourself, and so the type of company that you give to yourself is incredibly impactful. In the past few years, I've been learning to enjoy my own company a lot more. I've learned that spending time on my own is actually really nice in some ways. I don't have to worry about another person and what they want to do or what they're thinking about, and I don't have to try to present myself as quote-unquote put together. When I'm on my own, I can do whatever I feel, dress however I want, and I can relax and be my weird self without worrying about what anyone else thinks. There are certain activities that I absolutely love to do on my own. I love to check out new cafes, I enjoy going on runs and walks around the neighborhood, I like to sit in parks while reading and listening to music, and I like snuggling up inside while watching a show and eating yummy food. But there are also certain things that I never really do alone. I rarely go on hikes on my own, partly for safety reasons. I never go to the movies alone, I don't usually go on day trips on my own, and I don't go to restaurants alone. In college, I used to feel so awkward if I went to the dining hall and ate alone. I went to a really small school, and so I'd feel like everyone was watching me and judging me for eating alone, even when most people probably didn't even notice or care. When I think about why I avoided and still avoid doing these activities on my own, a couple of things come to mind. There's a societal pressure expectation that these activities, like going to the movies or eating at a restaurant, should be done with others. And because people typically do these things with others, sometimes I worry that going alone may accentuate the fact that I'm alone and make me feel more lonely when I see others with their group. I also fear that people look at me strangely and think, well, she must have no friends, or what a loner. I'm in the process of challenging myself to do things that I wouldn't normally do on my own alone. I know it will feel very, very uncomfortable at first, but I think that the more I do it, the more natural it will start to feel. I hope that I'll even start to find something like going on a day trip alone equally as enjoyable as going with others. While doing more things alone is definitely a good first step, I've learned that it takes more than just this to enjoy our own company. We also have to learn to be good company to ourselves. If we're not good company to ourselves, then no matter how much time we spend on our own, it'll be really difficult to enjoy our own company. Part of what it means to be good company to ourselves is to be conscious of what we're telling ourselves. Sometimes I notice myself getting caught in negative thoughts or worry spirals, or I notice myself being overly judgmental toward myself, and a lot of the time I'm not even conscious of it. But just as spending time around people who are super negative and judgmental is not very fun, if we're being that way to ourselves, then how can we expect to enjoy our own company? Lately, I've been working on being more conscious of the thoughts and things that I'm telling myself. If I notice myself saying something negative, then I try to reframe it to be more accurate. For example, if I think people are totally judging me right now for being on my own, I can reframe it to, some people may be judging me, but most people don't even notice or care. Also, if anyone is judging me, it says more about them than it does about me. I think that as we gain more comfort with being on our own, our confidence increases and feelings of loneliness decrease. Because even if we don't end up having someone to go to that event with or someone to spend our free day with, we have ourselves, and spending time on our own can be just as enjoyable as spending time with others. That being said, there's a time and place for everything. I'm a huge proponent of balance, and so while learning to enjoy our own company is really valuable, social connection is, of course, extremely important as well. I think both really help us feel connected and content.
Hey vlog, so I just filmed this little segment, but I didn't realize that my microphone wasn't on, so I am going to refilm it. Joys of vlogging. I'm here at Gamble Gardens in Palo Alto, and this is a little garden that I like to go to when I just want to relax, find a really serene, quiet environment. And as you can see, it's super peaceful here. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about the idea of solitude and what it means to just gain comfort with being on your own. In the past few years, I've gained a lot more comfort with just being on my own and doing things on my own. I think that studying abroad in 2022 in Barcelona really helped me gain more comfort with being on my own, because I ended up spending a lot of time on my own, exploring the city on my own. And I learned that I can really enjoy my own company, and I can go on like these cool day adventures on my own and enjoy it. I think that when you're with other people, it's really easy to get, distracted and be excited by different things and not really be aware of what you're like thinking about and what's on your mind. But when you're on your own, you just have a lot less distractions, and you end up just being really aware of what's kind of like top of mind at this point in life. I think it's just a really good time to reflect. That being said, there are times when I am alone and doing things on my own where I do wish I was with someone else, and I get a little bit lonely sometimes. Everything is important in balance. Being on your own and learning to enjoy your own company is super important, but then also like getting out and socializing is super important. I would say that I am pretty ambiverted. I really do enjoy social situations. I like meeting new people, and I think that some social situations definitely energize me more than others. When I'm with like my close friends, my family, those situations tend to really energize me, and I could spend like days with my friends. But when I'm in like a massive room and I don't know anybody there, that just drains me very, very quickly. So it just depends on the situation. In terms of spending time on my own and being alone, I do get energized by that as well. I think that learning to enjoy your own company is a super amazing skill to have, because once you learn to enjoy your own company, then you don't feel as reliant on other people to go out and do things. It's kind of like a superpower, honestly. When I was studying abroad in Barcelona, I went on my first solo trip to Italy, and I went to Florence, and I went there for 2 nights, so it was a pretty short solo trip, but it was a really, really cool experience because I found myself just enjoying my own company, and I got to do so many cool things. I went to a pasta class that actually turned out to be a couples class, and I didn't know that. So everybody there was actually on their honeymoon, except for me, which was funny. But it ended up still being a lot of fun. I ended up just like getting paired with a chef, and we like just made the pasta together while all the other couples made their pasta. I got to visit the Duomo and Ponte Vecchio and just all of the cool iconic sites in Florence. I also just found myself wandering the alleyways and streets, and it just felt like a really, really peaceful time, and I didn't find myself feeling lonely. I really actually enjoyed that time, and my goal is to actually go on more solo trips. I think it's a really cool way for you to discover things that you like to do, things that get you excited. But also, I think that it's really cool to meet people when you're traveling solo. When you're on your own, you end up being often like more outgoing, and you end up talking to people that you wouldn't otherwise talk to if you were going with a friend or family. And so it's actually in some ways easier to make friends and meet people when you're on your own. On the ride to Florence, I took like a train. I ended up talking to a couple from rural Italy, and they were telling me about their life in Italy and how they like to go on vacations to Florence and Rome. It was cool to just talk to them on the train and get to know people from halfway around the world who lived a very different life than me and who were so sweet and so kind. Even if we live very different lives, you end up getting to know new people and see that there are a lot of similarities too. I'll have to let you know what my next solo adventure will be.
Building a strong relationship with yourself and learning to enjoy your own company is definitely a process, and I'm still very much in the process. I've learned that it takes time and that baby steps are okay. You don't have to start with going on a week-long solo trip. You can start with smaller things and build from there. Feel free to leave a comment below sharing your own thoughts on this topic. I'd love to hear them. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.